I'll call the meeting to order of the Upper Big Blue Natural Resource District.
You have to turn it.
Open Meeting Act. The public notice has been published in the York News Times on May 11th, 2023. Open Meeting Act is posted in the back of the room by the door. The reminder, all cell phones should be silenced during the meeting. Please be aware this meeting is being recorded. When speaking, the desktop microphone button must be depressed. This ensures that your comments are recorded in their entire content. The recording becomes part of the public record along with written board minutes in accordance with state statute. Roll call.
Bethune.
Here.
Anthony Bohaty.
Here.
Jeff Bohaty.
Here.
Richard Bohaty.
Here.
Dickinson.
Here.
Grotz.
Here.
Houdersheldt.
Here.
Kuehner.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Nuss.
Here.
Otte.
Here.
Perry.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Siebert. Stahly. Here. Weiss.
Here.
Yates.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Mr. Chairman, I think everybody will hear some pounding going on through the night.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have squirrels, we don't have rats, but we're getting a new roof. So we've put up with it for 2 days, so we can surely put up with it for a couple more hours tonight. And they found a leak was after several weeks.
Okay. Oh, but you want to talk about that later? Yeah, you can, okay. Next item, consideration of director's request for excused absence. I have one here from Kendall Siebert, and the reason is he is coaching his daughter's softball.
I move to accept.
Second. Okay.
Roger Houdersheldt.
Or Kendall and Roger, yeah.
No, Bill.
Or excuse me. Jeez.
Or Kendall.
Yeah. I got his name wrong right there, and I just read it back. Okay. Okay. Roll call.
Anthony.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Kuehner.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stahly. Yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Public comments. Anyone may comment on any matter that is not on this agenda. However, no board action can be taken until the following board meeting according to Nebraska Open Meeting Act, unless the board declares it an emergency. Please hold comments on any listed items until it is considered. Adoption of agenda. Would someone like to adopt this agenda?
Move the agenda.
Second.
Who do we have?
John? Did you get him?
Kevin.
And a little bit. So Kevin made the motion.
John.
John seconded it. John Miller.
Miller. Sorry.
Roll call.
Jeff.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Kuehner.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Staley. Yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Approval of minutes of the April 2023 Board of Directors meeting.
Make a one. Approve.
Richard.
But Richard made the motion, Doug Dickinson made the second.
Okay.
Roll call.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Kuehner.
Abstain.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Staley. Yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Excuse me. Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes. Okay, so at this time, I get to do a staff recognition. Dee Dee, would you come up here, please? For 15 years of service to the NRD, so I want to thank you for everything you do.
What is she doing?
Shuts these lights off because there's a glare.
Yeah, it glares off my head.
Not your old,
Oh, okay, sorry.
so I can get out there.
So yellow right there.
You gonna do the handshake?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
They want you to open it. Yeah. This,
I don't know what it is.
that's what they want to know.
Oh, now I do know what it is. It's a tumbler. Thank you first.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll go into Water Regulations Committee report. Jeff?
The Water Regulations Committee met Tuesday, May 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the NRD office. Those who participated are listed below. The committee members, myself, Rodney Grotz, John Miller, Teresa Otte, Kevin Peterson, Bill Stahly, Kendall Siebert, Lynn Yates. And then the staff was Dave Eichenberg, Krista Houston, Marie Krosnick, and Terry Julesberg. There was other directors and no guests. The action items. The Aquifer Quality Well Abandonment Cost Share Assistance Program payments. 12 Aquifer Well Abandonment Cost Share System Program applications have been approved for final payment totaling $8,700.67. The motion to make cost share payments for 12 well abandonments as reviewed by the committee at a cost of $8,700.67, and I so move.
Second.
John Miller, second. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Roll call.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The Water Meter Repair Cost Share Assistance Program. 3 water meter repair cost share assistance program applications have been approved for final payment totaling $900. A list is attached. The motion to make cost share payments for 3 water meter repairs is reviewed by the committee at a cost of $900. Motion carried 8 yes and 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Richard.
Richard?
Any questions on this? Comments? Roll call.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The groundwater transfer authorization, Michael and Maurice Hofschneider own 78.74 acres in the east half of the southeast corridor of section 3410 North, range 1 West. The property is watered by well G 062022. Michael Hofschneider would like to transfer 70 acres to the east half northeast quarter of section 3, township 9 North, range 1 West, owned by Maurice Hofschneider. Both tracts are in York County. This transfer fits with the groundwater transfer rules. The application is attached. The motion to approve groundwater transfer T121, one signed by landowner of destination tract. The motion carried 8 yes and 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Who seconded that? Rodney seconded. Any questions on that, or comments?
Did we get the landlord to sign that we talked about?
Yes, it is signed. It is signed.
Okay, thank you, Terry.
Seconded.
What's that?
Who seconded?
John.
Rodney Grotz.
Seeing as it's been signed, I move to amend this motion to end the motion after approved groundwater transfer 121. Remove everything beyond that.
I second the amendment.
Okay, how should I word that?
Okay, so the motion, we'll read to approve groundwater transfer T-121, basically. Okay.
And to drop off the back end.
I'll just drop off.
Yeah, that's the amendment. So does anybody have any questions or comments on the amendment?
John Miller.
Miller made the motion.
Who seconded that?
Kevin did.
Kevin Peterson.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion is to approve groundwater transfer
The amendment.
or the amendment is T-121. Okay. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Kuehner.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so now we're back to the motion as amended, which is, I read that wrong before. Yeah, I should have said it different, but to approve groundwater transfer T-121. Any questions on this? On the motion as amended. Roll call.
Kuehner.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, Jeff.
The regional groundwater modeling payment of Brown and Caldwell. An invoice totaling $9,830 for work performed on the regional scale groundwater flow model of the Blue River Basin for work performed from January 27th through March 30th, 2023. A copy of the invoice is attached. The motion is to pay Brown and Caldwell for work performed January 27th, 2023 through March 30th, 2023 in the amount of $9,830. The motion carried 8 yes and 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Houdersheldt.
Any questions on this? Okay, yeah, go ahead, Roger.
Marie, where are we at on this thing? I mean, what are they still working on calibration or what's going on?
No. The calibration is done. Kurt is starting to work on the final report. The department has the model and are doing some internal reviews, and then we'll start doing model runs. But it is likely that it will not be completely done by June 30th. So we will have, the department will have some language to us next week or by June committee for you guys to consider. And then also had a meeting with Brown and Caldwell. They'll have some similar language, but we talked about their extension, maybe extending a couple months past the departments, so that if the NRDs have questions about running the model or things like that after we get it in our hands, we've got a contract still active with Brown and Caldwell.
Bill?
So there's going to possibly be another extension,
Time only.
time only?
Time only. In talking with Brown and Caldwell, we have more than enough budget to cover what would be left for their side of it. What's kind of hanging it up is the department at this point, because Kurt's moving along thinking we were gonna be done with the report by June 30, so he's well on the way of having that done. And the department's saying we haven't really done our internal review yet of the model or started doing model runs of it. So it's kind of the department wanting to extend longer.
Do you have any idea if they're happy or are they just understaffed or what's the holdup?
I'm not for sure what the holdup is. I think there's other basins that are probably, bigger than, a bigger deal than we are. We're not really gonna be fully appropriated. So I don't know if it's staffing or what it is, but they're gonna ask, the department's gonna ask for some more time.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Certification of irrigated acres. The committee reviewed the irrigated acre certification for 275 parcels totaling 23,446.11 acres, yielding an increase in irrigated acres of 647.97 acres. The total acres for the district are 1,247,845.47 acres. Irrigated acre changes by parcel is attached. The motion to certify the acre changes as presented to the committee. The motion carried 8 yes and 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Matthew Perry.
Any questions on this? Or comments? Roll call.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Four-wheeler bid authorization. Staff sent out a request for quotation for 2 Honda Ford Trax Ranch four-wheelers with delivery by June 30th of 2023. Only one quote was received with the delivery date of 8 months from the time of bid award. The motion to reject bid and resubmit request for quotation after the 2023-24 budget is approved. The motion carried 7 yes and 0 no, and I so move.
second,
Any questions or comments on this? Roll call.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
United States Geological Survey payment, groundwater quality monitoring program. An invoice was received from the United States Geological Survey for evaluation of the Upper Blue Natural Resources District groundwater quality monitoring program as agreed in the joint funding agreement. The motion to pay United States Geological Survey for evaluation work completed in the amount of $14,024. The motion carried 8 yes and 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this or comments? Roll call.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Discussion and no action items, the Regenerative Ag Conference, the Lower Platte North, the Lower Platte South, Little Blue, and Lower Big Blue Natural Resource Districts are all on board to co-sponsor the Regenerative Ag Conference in the winter of 2024. Staff have secured a $750 grant from the Dan Gillespie Soil Health Fund to assist in planning the event. Staff will have a Zoom meeting on May 15th with the partners to finalize the date and select the speaker for the event. The groundwater level change, a spring 2022 to 2023 groundwater level change map was presented to the committee. The upper Big Blue NRD district has seen an average decline of 2.21 feet, which is 6.68 feet above the allocation trigger level. J, the Chemigation Incentive Program, new application, 5 additional applications have been authorized for a total of 29 authorized applications. A list of new applicants is attached. K, the first draft Water Department budget. Jules Gard presented the first draft of the Water Department budget for review by the committee. Several corrections were noted. The committee was asked to review and provide input for possible increases or decreases. Item L, rules enforcement update. A, other users. There is one outstanding entity that is not reported to the other water use for 2022. This is an inactive NRD sealed well. Staff will be inspecting this well to ensure the well is still sealed and will continue trying to get in contact with the owner. Item B, phase 2 and 3 training. There are 7 producers who, according to district records, are out of compliance for not attending initial phase 2 and 3 training. Staff mailed out violation letters with a compliance date of May 18, 2023. If not in compliance by the state, the process of issuing an order to cease and desist will begin. Item C, phase 2 and 3 reporting. 126 out of compliance letters were sent out on May 3rd, 2023 with a compliance date of May 19th, 2023. As of these minutes, there are just under 100 phase 2 and 3 reports that have not been submitted. Staff will start the violation process on May 22nd, 2023 on the outstanding reports. Well permit summary. A summary of well construction permits for April was presented to the committee. Currently, there are 12,226 active irrigation wells. Item N, K Junction solar update. It was suggested that the staff and committee begin working on language to address the irrigated acres associated with projects which will change the use of irrigated land. This will be added to the June agenda to begin discussion on possible rules, additional changes. And item O, additional business. Jules Gard and Eigenberg provided a brief overview of the Blue River Compact meeting which took place the morning of May 9th in Manhattan, Kansas. Krosnick and Miller also attended. Each represented agency of the compact provided updates of activities. It is set in the compact that there should be an annual meeting of the compact members. There was a brief discussion on the compact representatives. Currently, Larry Moore is a Nebraska advisor on the compact.
Yes, Bill.
Did we have an increase in online reporting, you know?
We haven't looked at that. We do know that we did have a big increase in the number of people who didn't meet the deadline. And we mailed those reports out so much sooner. We were surprised how many people turned stuff in before January, but it wasn't a significant, it was maybe like 24 people that turned stuff in before January 1. So next year, I think we've been talking internally, we may open the online stuff up, like in October or November, and send out a postcard saying, hey, this is ready to go online, but still mail the packets out in January. Because we had a lot of people coming in wanting reprinted packets also, because they had misplaced theirs.
Has the online changed much since conception?
No, not really. We're still at about 25% for water reporting. And early on, I haven't looked at it in probably 6 weeks, but it was about 10% of phase 2 and 3 reports. We have since forward-faced the phase 2 or phase 3 irrigation sample data in the portal, because we've had a number of guys calling and asking which wells they need to get samples from. So we've turned those events, so those are in their to-do list, so they can get in there and look at a list of wells that we want sampled. And we also did some rearranging. Bill, have you been in in the portal recently?
It's been a couple months.
Okay, in like the last 3 weeks, we've done, the Beehive has implemented the changes that we wanted to do with the reporting form for phase 2 and 3 that we think makes it look a little easier, less daunting, gives a little bit more instructions like, hey, if you click save here, it'll calculate some numbers for you and those types of things. So if you have an online portal, log in, hop in and take a look and provide feedback.
I really think we need to make it, I've been seeing this for several years now. I mean, that needs to be more user-friendly. We need to get more people.
Yeah, take a look and see if you think it looks a little more user-friendly with the rearranging of some of the data collection stuff in there, and give us some feedback.
On the phase 2 and 3 training, today was the day for them to get into compliance. Those 7, did you hear from any of those 7?
No, we haven't, so we'll be sending out letters.
Okay. And we've been on that first item. If it's an inactive sealed well, why do they have to report their water use? They don't have to report their water use on a sealed well, do they?
You have to have a meter on the sealed well.
Yeah, it's just,
We still ask them to confirm that the seal is still intact and they haven't activated that well on an annual basis.
I have several sealed wells and I don't,
They're on your water use report.
but I don't do anything. I don't put anything on there.
Oh, you probably put a dash or no use or something
Oh, well, maybe
on there.
I mean, there's no meters on them, so I
Right.
mean, all that's been stripped on. Oh,
Right.
Okay.
But they're still listed on your report, on your water use
Okay.
report.
oh, well, maybe I'm not doing it right.
Is he on the list?
Well, I am now. Yeah, I guess I sent mine in online, so, and I didn't get any phone calls back that I didn't do it right, so, okay.
I got a question
Yeah.
for you. This K-Junction solar update, does that involve opening up Rule 5?
Yes, that's where it'll be, I think it's in Rule 5, yeah. Well, whatever we decide to do, well, if we do something, I think that's where it comes in, is Rule 5, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So,
Mr. Chairman, that's,
Zoning Commission hasn't even met on that, have they yet?
Yeah.
They did finally meet?
I just got about this thick of paper that the EDF has sent back to the zoning commission, trying to get them to change some of their pre-rules and stuff like that. So this will be the second time that they will meet with them. And it's just for sake of chatter. Right now, if things would go through like they want it to, and our evaluations stay close to say, we'd net $18,000 a year from them for the NRD. That would be the extra tax money that they would owe the NRD.
okay, with
like-
evaluation and the levies today.
At where we're at today, because like the school, it's over 800,000 a year, so.
So that 18,000 is total to the NRD?
Total of the NRD, the total amount of extra that they would get, because they figured on a kilowatt, I don't know how, they explained it there, but they had it all broke down. And the NRD was
Okay.
what their budget, or their
mill levy, it'd be another $18,000 you'd get from them.
Yeah, well, of course, that adds to the valuation, but in the county, and then depending on what we do with our asking, that's how it affects it, yeah.
But if
so,
everything stayed the same,
Yeah.
that's what they said that it
Yeah,
would be.
yeah. Matthew, on your comment about zoning, well, I guess this is my own comment, maybe I shouldn't be making this, but we can go ahead and do what we want to with Rule 5, and it doesn't really hinge on what the zoning does, I don't think, so just a comment, I think that's right, yeah, so.
Well, what are we worried about? I mean, we're not talking a large amount of acres. What do you want them to do? Give me, do you have any idea what rules you want to change or why you want to change?
Well, but just with I think it's mainly with transferring those, or not transferring, pooling those acres in with other acres, but to me, the main thing that we'll have to deal with, which, if I'm wrong, speak up, Marie or Terry, so, yeah, okay. And Ray Moore did call me, and asked me, but if he needed to come, and give a report on the Blue River deal, I told him it was up to him. He said there that, we've had some discussion back, but from the people that were down there, and I guess he didn't show up, so I told him we were probably covered pretty good, but if he wanted to come, he could, and, so I just left it alone. John?
I gave you a couple simple. This was the 50th one, so it was an anniversary number 50 for the Blue River Compact.
What, you got the silver watch?
Yeah, that's where I got some one, yeah.
Okay.
The Barnston stream gauge at one time was the second lowest that it's ever been since 1917. Is that long ago, something like that? Last year, Blue River, they had a call on that for 61 days. The Little Blue for 61 days.
Yeah.
The Big Blue, I think it was only less than a week.
Yeah.
We had.
Murray was telling me on that Little Blue, they would call for a week, and then they would turn everybody loose again, and then they'd do it again, or something like that. He was telling me, so, yeah, it was, a 35-minute phone call, which is fine.
Well, is Barneston on the Big Blue or Little Blue?
Barneston's on the
Big Blue.
on the Big Blue.
That's what I thought. Well,
and I can't think where the Little Blue's at.
Adam.
Okay.
Well, the reason I was wondering is because last year the Blue never quit running by our place. And in 74, 5, and 6, it was dry almost the whole year, all winter and everything else. And I always thought it was because of gated pipe is why we kept it running, but I couldn't believe last year it never quit in our area.
Yeah, I don't know what it's doing, like today, or, or what it's going to be doing. Of course, down in the southeast corner of the state, which a little bit that would be in the Big Blue, they've been getting rain down there, so, time will tell, so. Okay.
Kansas' biggest thing was the oil spill. They did a couple there once bring up atrazine and uranium, but not as much as they normally have. And they are still in the process of this surge. It's a surge to try to get the hydro dredging.
Get the silt moving downstream and somebody else's problem.
But it's a.
I shouldn't say.
I thought they'd started a couple years ago, but it's still in research, and we're hoping to maybe try it this year sometime. So.
Okay.
That's all I got for now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jeff, for doing that. I mean, the report. Thank
Is
you.
that how we ended?
Oh, well, unless you got something
No,
else.
I don't know.
Speech. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
was just curious.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, now we'll move on to the projects and program committee report. Richard?
Projects and Programs Committee met at 7 PM Thursday, May 11th at the NRD office in York. Committee members present were Bethune, Anthony Bohaty, myself, Houdersheldt, Kuehner, Nuss, Perry, Weiss, Board Chairman Lynn Yates, staff members, other directors, and one guest present. Action items, land treatment program. There were no new land treatment applications. The committee reviewed the land treatment program funding. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD approve payment of $1,356.04 for one completed land treatment project as recommended by staff and reviewed by the committee. The motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second. Bethune.
Paul. Any questions on this? Comments? Roll call.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Keener.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Action item B, City of York Letter of Map Revision. JEO continues development of the City of York's Letter of Map Revision, which approved will lessen the effects of the 100-year floodplain in York. The NRD has an interlocal agreement with the City of York in which the NRD agrees to pay 50% of the cost for the process, not to exceed $21,000. The total provided by the NRD as April 7, 2023 would be $11,108.75. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD approve payment to the City of York of $2,566.88, which is 50% of it, for work completed from February 25th, 2023 through April 7th, 2023, as recommended by staff and reviewed by the committee. The motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Perry.
Any questions on this? Or comments? Roll call.
Stahly, yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Grotz.
Yes.
Houdersheldt.
Yes.
Keener.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Otte.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Oxbow Trail Recreation Area. Peepers Incorporated is scheduled to finish the well and hydrant installation the week of May 15th. Following the completion of the well, Dankers Concrete will return and place the last concrete slab. Oxbow Supply Well, results of re-advertised bids. Staff has received the re-advertised bids for the Oxbow Supply Well. Total estimated cost for installing the supply well is $130,849.75, which includes $11,775 from Butler Public Power District to bring three-phase power to the site, $107,196 from Volsky Corporation for the well installation, $7,078.50 from Broken Arrow Excavating for building the well pad, constructing the channel, installing the membrane and crushed rock on the channel, and $4,800 from Rio Fence Company for constructing the security fence. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD accept the submitted bids for the installation of a well to supplement flows into Oxbow Trail Lake during dry periods as recommended by staff and reviewed by the committee. Motion carried 7 yes and 2 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this?
What are the specs on this well for $107,000?
What? Oh.
The specs on the well for $107,000?
Is the bid sheet in here?
It's back here.
Oh,
Yeah,
it should be included.
yeah. I know it's to a certain depth, because they're gonna drill a test well, and maybe that depth might be a little different. Oh, okay. It looks like it's for, a 300-foot hole.
Did you find it, Kevin? Is it in your packet? Okay.
Yeah. Do you want a minute to look at that, or do you have
No,
any
I
questions?
got it. I just had that question. I apologize for not looking farther back down in the information
Okay.
materials.
Paul?
I think maybe this question would be for Rob. Are you familiar with this area, aren't you, Rob? What's the water table like for the irrigators in that area?
Well, on that side of the highway, it's pretty good. On the other side, there's not any. So that side, their wells are 800 to 1,000 gallons around there. And they didn't think we'd have any trouble getting any water there. The two guys that have the closest farms to there, one of them, his wife did all the mowing around there for quite a few years. And the other guy was the guy we were talking about using his well if we needed to supplement before we got this done.
So we're not in danger of sucking wells dry, even, for running it.
Not, it's in that area, but from there, from that blacktop that goes from Ulysses toward Dwight, everything north of there's got water, everything south of there, it's hit or miss. I mean, that's just the way it is. And this bid is since we separated that out, that was 45,000 less than what the bid was when we had all together. So it was good to separate it out.
What was the original budget? You guys budgeted for that last year. What was the original budget? Was it like around 100?
Yeah, I was thinking 107 or 8 or 10 or something, but I shouldn't say because I don't remember. Do you, either one of you?
I don't need to proc, that's fine.
It was a little over 100, it was 110 or 20.
Yeah. The previous quote we got was considerable higher than this. That's all I'm gonna say. So
on this farm, where is the well going to be at approximately? Like what corner?
I'll let Roger answer that.
It'll be up in the northeast corner by where the springs come in right now, by that parking lot up in that corner.
So it's on like the,
It's
I don't know, the upper
clear up in
part.
the tailwaters.
Yeah, yes, there we go, yeah.
It'll be clear, from that road up there, depending on where they spot it, it'll be 50 to 100 yards off that east road.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a picture in here or not.
When we did the witching, when my sister did the witching, that was where we found the best supplies was up in there, but compared to up where we drilled the little well, there was a lot more water there than there was.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Weiss,
No.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
No.
Jeff,
No.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
No.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
No.
Stahly, yes. Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried,
What was the count?
10 to 6.
10 to
Yeah,
6.
okay. Okay, before we go to the next one, and I might be wrong on this, but the first motion, we don't have to act on it. I don't think the second motion we act on it. I don't think the third motion we act on it. But the fourth motion we do, and then that, I'm gonna call it the fifth motion, we don't, and then the last motion we do. Now, if that's not right, somebody correct me, or... What? Yeah, I guess I'm sort of looking down at John, but, well, okay. Oh, but the first three, but you can read them, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But, I know, but we don't have to vote on them. And then,
The fourth one and the last one we need to vote on.
yeah, yeah,
I think you guys enjoyed putting me in a 5 to 4 about 3
yeah,
months.
yeah. And I know that, maybe I shouldn't bring this up, because that was at least a 40-minute deal, something like that, But I think it was a good thing, because we had some really good discussion back and forth. Yeah, it got carried out quite a while, but but we finally got through it though, so. Okay, take it away, Richard.
Okay, Overland Trail Well and Security Light. Staff sent out requests for bids for the installation of a domestic well at Overland Trail Recreation Area. Many of the local well contractors are busy with other projects and did not submit bids. Ernst Well Drilling submitted a bid of $36,070.05. Staff received 3 bids for the electrical work, including $4,030.89 from Dawson Electric, $68.59.40 from Nissan Electric, and $89.50 from Joseph Electric. Committee discussed the value of receiving multiple bids on projects. Committee discussion included options of re-advertising with a later completion date as an effort to receive bids. And we had a motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD accept the bids of Ernest Well Drilling and electrical work of Dawson at Oxbow Trail Recreation as reviewed by the committee, and that motion failed 4 to 5. Then we had another motion, the Upper Big Blue NRD deny all bids received for the well construction and electrical work for the Overland Trail Recreation as reviewed by the committee. Motion carried 5 yes, 4 no. Then another motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD reconsider the motion to deny all bids received for the well and electrical work for the Overland Trail Recreation Area as reviewed by the committee, and that one passed 8 to 1. Next, a motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD accept the bid received from Dawson Electric for the electrical work in Overland Trail Recreation Area as reviewed by the committee. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
News.
Mike News, yeah. Okay, any questions on that? Yes.
There's, just for no confusion, there's some oxbows in there. This is Overland. So just so there's no confusion, all the oxbows should be changed to Overland.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes, in that first motion, yeah,
Even on the last motion.
yeah,
Yeah, first and last.
okay. Okay, thank you for catching that, thank you. Okay. Okay, is there any other comments that deals with this, or questions?
This, we talked about this. This was budgeted. Bill, you talked about that.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that's the main.
Yeah. Okay, everybody knows which motion there, but we're dealing with here, so. Okay, roll call.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, we had a motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD deny the well bid from Ernst Well Drilling and re-advertise the domestic well with a bid due date of June 8, 2023, and a required completion date of June 1st, 2024, in an effort to receive more bids from well contractors. That motion failed 4-5. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD accept the well bid for the well Ernst Well Drilling of $36,070.05 at Overland Trail Recreation Area as reviewed by the committee. That motion carried 8 yes, 1 no, and I so move.
News.
Okay, any questions or comments on this? Geez, that's pretty boring getting it through it this time. Okay, roll call.
Anthony,
No.
Jeff,
No.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
No.
Peterson,
No.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
No.
Bethune,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
10-6 I had, is that
Yes.
right?
Okay, item E, hazard mitigation plan update. The Upper Big Blue NRD has been awarded a building resilient infrastructure and communities grant by the Nebraska Emergency Management Agency for updating the Upper Big Blue NRD multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan 2019. The plan covers the counties of Seward, York, and Hamilton and requires an update every 5 years. Through the agreement, the NRD is required to follow all NRD procurement standards, which include the selection and hiring of a contractor to update this plan. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD staff issue a request for proposals from contractors to update the Upper Big Blue NRD multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan 2019 as recommended by staff and reviewed by the committee. Motion carried 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
John Miller. Any questions? Or comments? Roll call.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, item F, item for board meeting agenda. Projects and Program Committee Chairperson Bohaty requests that the bid results of the Langworthy-Rhine-Miller Conservation Material Removal Project to be placed on the May 18th, 2023 board agenda for acceptance or denial, as discussed in item O, and I don't even know what that.
It should be item N, N, I think. Yeah.
Staff, go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, that's fine, you can read through that.
Okay,
yeah.
staff has issued specifications to remove material from the conservation pool at Langworthy Rhine-Miller Dam. An estimated 4,038 cubic yards will be removed from the conservation pool and will be hauled and stockpiled to the northeast area of Oxbow Trails Recreation, approximately 16 miles away. In order to give the contractors more time to prepare their bids, the staff set the bid due date for 3 p.m. on Wednesday, May 17th, the day before the board meeting. The board will evaluate the bids at tonight's board meeting, and I guess we have bids here.
You want me to go through?
Yeah.
Okay, in your packet, you'll have a 3-page flyer that is handwritten across in my handwriting. It says project and program item F. The initial estimation by our staff was $40,000 to remove the sediment, the material out of the conservation pool. We received 3 bids, one from Broken Arrow Excavating for $49,769, one from Gana Trucking and Excavation for $91,274.62, and one from Greco Construction Company for $64,091.60. You can see that we have 5 bids underneath that elected not to bid for one reason or the other. The next 2 sheets are the itemized bid sheets, bid documents that we received from each of the 3 that submitted bids. I'll try and answer any questions that you may have on these.
Oh,
These handouts, I was gonna say it's quite,
okay. I was looking at the wrong
It should
place.
be a separate, not in your stapled packet. It should be the first sheet afterwards. You got one or not? I got an extra one here. So if you look closely at the bids, you can see the excavation is pretty close on all 3 of them. Where the big difference is the trucking expense for hauling.
I know Jack's not here, but why did we, choose the location to haul the dirt to? Just, we needed, something to get in the,
One, it was our property. We could stockpile it on our property rather than trying to find something else. And we had a potential use for it at that location.
Okay.
In the near future, not next year,
Okay.
but soon.
okay.
Yeah, it was about some distance.
Yeah.
Well, I knew the hauling the dirt was gonna be a big part of it, because that's very expensive.
So we're taking it off the property.
Yes,
Taking it off the property and transferring it to Oxbow, stockpiling at Oxbow.
oh, yes.
Is there a hole in the tube? Somebody said that they also poked a hole in the tube to collapse it. Is there a hole in the tube? Do we know?
I do not believe so.
Somebody contacted me
Oh,
There is a valve in the tube that they have opened up and not closed. And according to their documentation to us, they close it and open it every season. We have pretty good indication that they did not open it until late. We have pictures of it with water in it. So that may be the hole they're referring to, but as far as I know, pinholes or anything in the tube, no.
The end of the drawdown tube has been, well, when I was there, it had been damaged a little bit. I think it'd been hit maybe, but it was, cause that, oh geez, I don't even remember, it's been so long. That's like, I don't know, a 10 or 12 inch culvert or something, you know? But it looked like it had been skinned up on the end and bent just a little. I mean, that's all that I saw, but that is, you mean there isn't something else, so. Yes, Paul?
Are these bids, is this gonna be our bill, or if, due to the legal, or is that gonna be involved in the legal proceedings?
Let me describe what potentially could happen. We have sent documentation to Langworthy, Ken, help me out with his last name. Morgan. Ken Morgan, saying that with our engineering report, they are liable for 80% of the material removed. So this would represent the total bill. In the perfect world, they would come in and pay 80% of this, and we would go down the road, we'd pay 20%, they'd pay 80%. We have not heard anything back from Mr. Morgan, whether that's acceptable or not acceptable. Our legal counsel has not received any documentation from Mr. Morgan. So we are assuming that we will have to take them to court and collect the 80% of this bill, is what I'm envisioning.
Knowing him, how I know him, I would assume that's more than likely correct.
Okay. I've never met the man. I've talked to him several times on the phone. I've asked to meet him, and he does not have any want to meet me or talk to me. So.
This is their lawyer, the lawyer?
No, this is the trust executive
He was a
director.
CPA in sewer and he retired. He took over the Langworthy. He had to be approved for it. He manages that. And he gets paid quite well for doing this. And he's just a total a-hole. Sorry. Excuse my language, but it just burns me up a little bit.
Getting back to this bid, the cheapest bid, it's $27,000 to truck it. It's went from, the first one was Broken Arrow.
Right.
There's no way I could just stay there and shape it on the ground and save most of that 27,000? Or do we want the dirt that bad?
No, we don't necessarily want the dirt that bad. We were hopeful that that would be a leverage tool that we could use upon litigation, saying that we would allow them to keep the dirt, and pay us the 80% of the excavation without hearing anything back from them. I don't have any idea what to tell you, Jeff. I mean, it'd be nice if we had some correspondence back and forth between myself and Mr. Morgan, or between you guys and Mr. Morgan, but I haven't had that.
Would it do any good to have our attorney talk to him?
They have.
They have. Okay.
Several times.
And you just can't get anywhere.
Our attorney has written them a very formal letter, and I think I supplied that to you several months ago. And even Don didn't get any response back from that letter.
So it's probably going to take a judgment by a court to get them to talk.
That's my assumption. Now, tomorrow I may get a phone call saying that, he saw this or he heard this and he's willing to come and negotiate. But I don't have that yet.
Yeah, that would be one of the negotiating points is if they say, well, we need the dirt, let's leave it there maybe. So, that's something there. And I'm sure that would come back to the board to make that decision.
I think one of the things, if they elect to keep the dirt, we would want it spread on the field, not just stockpiled next to this, so the erosion would silt right back into it and we'd have to be right back in the problem. So that was one of the reasons we were talking about taking it off-site.
This just seems so silly on their side, and we're going to be paying attorneys beyond the cost of this, and this will get done, and somebody will pay the bill.
Bill?
Okay, if we accept a bid here, which includes removal of the dirt, and they would end up wanting to keep the dirt, does bidders know that their possibility might be in there?
Yes.
And they're okay with it?
Yes.
Okay.
There would be some there would be some transport to somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't take it out and dump it over the bank. So there's going to be a limited trucking somewhere, but it probably wouldn't be $27,000.
Yeah, that figure wouldn't go away, but 100%, even if they move it 200 feet away, I mean, there's a cost in doing that, you know, so. Did you have a question?
No, that's the question.
But, you think Matthew's next? I think.
We're planning, if we plan to vote for this, we're planning on getting it done probably sooner than later, aren't we?
Yes.
And I'm guessing, I mean, that ground's already probably planted.
That's,
Anthony?
That was my question.
Okay.
When would the work start, this summer? Real soon?
Real soon. We did,
So-
yeah.
So,
Yeah. And this is real because this isn't a short-term solution. This is a short-term solution to a very long-term problem. We've probably been talking about this for over 2 years.
I got a question.
yes, go ahead, Richard.
Okay, so if we start doing dirt work, I mean, I drove around there the other day, and they have their pivot bridge there. Is that gonna be in the way? Is that gonna get moved when we're moving all the sediment? Are they, you know, they're gonna get owly about that?
What we would do is leave the pivot bridge in its locality. We would dig up to it, reach underneath with the excavator and dig out and then go to the other side. We do not plan on removing that bridge. There probably, once the valve is shut again and the conservation pool is filled up, that bridge is going to be about a foot underwater. And then they'll probably come back to the board and want some type of agreement like they did before for a pivot bridge. That's up to you guys.
So, okay, but if we decide on one of these bids tonight, what's the next step? Do we tell the contractor to go ahead, or do we wait for the trust
I think
to comment?
the next step would be that I would contact our legal counsel tomorrow morning. I would have them write a letter to Mr. Morgan saying that we have accepted a bid as of tonight. The work will begin such and such a date, and we'll push the issue.
Okay, a certified letter, you know, but so they get that.
Yep.
And then give them, well.
That's up to Don. I mean, it'll be.
I know, it's whatever Don thinks, you know, give them 2 or 3 days to reply. We don't hear anything, then we'll go ahead with the work. Okay, that's, yes, Roger, I'm sorry to hold you on.
No, you said it's been going on 2 or 3 years, just this part of it has. You know?
Yeah.
We've dealt with them on this thing 2 or 3 times before on the pivot bridge. We've bent over backwards to work with them on that, and they've gone the other way on that. I mean, this isn't the first time this deal's been a problem, and it's time to get it straightened out.
But in all fairness, when you dealt with the bridge, it was a different person who ran Langworthy, and it's a different tenant.
No, I won't argue with that, but.
To be fair to everybody.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I won't argue with you there, but we still had to deal with it on.
I'm not advocating
Yeah,
for anybody.
yeah.
So, it's an action item on our, okay, go ahead.
Just one question,
Yeah.
maybe I don't understand. On these bids, this number 4 mileage, what's the 6144 and then 17228? What are those numbers?
I imagine that's the total miles of trucking, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's,
Well, why are they different then?
My guess is they probably have different sized dump trucks or, you know, different
Yeah.
types of trailers.
That's their estimate of the number of miles that they would have to drive to move that dirt.
I know, well, no, on this last one, it is cubic yards.
That's what I.
Yes. Yeah, but the others bid it miles. Am I wrong? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Cubic yards
Yeah,
on the one.
yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, yeah, otherwise I would have missed that. So, the discussion, but has been on, there's no motion. It's a, item on the agenda to deal with. So I guess, if somebody wants to make a motion, on one of these bids, or a motion in regards to this item, there we go. That's what I'm saying. Rodney?
I just have maybe a quick question or something
Yeah,
to think
that's
about. If we were to accept one of these bids tonight, that includes the transfer of the dirt to our location, and then further communication happens with the trust moving forward to where maybe we don't move the soil at all, do we have to resubmit bids, or can we stick with this one and just no transport?
You could elect to strike one of the lines, yeah.
Considering that, I would move that we accept the bid from Broken Arrow Excavate for $49,769.
Second.
Peterson.
Is there any further discussion? Or John?
I guess I got one question.
Yep.
Was
Rodney.
Mr. Morgan or anyone involved on on their side informed of the bidding process and dates we were taking bids and when we were opening them?
No, not the dates, not that specific. In Don's letter, it said that we would go to a solicitation of bids though, of quotes, but it did not say a certain date, no.
If something would change, that last mileage line would be changed. Who is going to agree to that? Does it have to come back to the board? So that'll take another month, minimum. Okay, I was just wondering. So does that affect the dates when we were wanting this done? I don't know what the dates are, so.
Yeah.
So. We should have amended it. Right now, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Right.
So.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other discussion or questions on the motion?
I mean, if you want to do that, which seems reasonable.
Yeah, well, because there's a change, then they'll push it to June.
Right.
And then that really starts to narrow down for the contractor. That's what I was getting at. But
It seems like maybe the other party knows how government wheels don't turn so fast, and just every month we prolong it. I think it's ready to push this already.
Yeah, I guess I was just, if that happens, yeah, it really should go to the board, and that's not a decision Jack can make.
I would not recommend staff making that
Okay.
large of a decision.
Okay, back to the motion. Any other questions or comments on the motion to accept Broken Arrow Excavation for a dollar amount, $49,769 as quoted? Do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Can somebody call a special meeting for this? Or is there a, John?
Yeah.
If it comes down to that, can
I would not consider that an emergency. I think that we could back up the due date easier than calling a special meeting to deal with this. Like give them another month on the contract.
To the contract, yeah. Okay, yeah.
But I hope you guys understand why I'm reluctant to have a staff member make this kind of decision.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but if the contractor would be willing to move the date back because of something like that, yeah, that'd be fine, So, I just didn't want to have to go back for rebids again. That's all I was getting at. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
No.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I think we have an item G about the payment for the tree farms.
Yeah, if you'll let me explain this a little bit. We've been pushing real hard to get money out of the budget, and so we had a little bit of a budget review in staff, and we found $7,500 that is an existing budget, is in fiscal '22 budget for trees. We have torn out, maybe not a lot, but significant amount over at Pioneer Trails with the reshaping of that bank. So I had Kyle go to a nursery and just tag $7,500 worth of trees for a potential sale. What I'm asking the board to do is to approve the payment of $7,450 to Plains Tree Farm out of, well, it's, their address is Lincoln, but it's right off the interstate, Pleasantdale, thereabouts, for tree.
There's one in Davenport, there's one in, there's two of them.
Yeah, they're owned by the
Okay,
same
yeah.
company.
Okay.
Was that the one on the north side of the interstate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're owned by the same people.
when Kyle went to the place in Lincoln, he tagged the complete inventory out of Lincoln.
Okay.
So they would have to get we would have to get 7 trees from Davenport. So if you look in your packet, there is it's item G for projects and programs. It's a potential sales order from Plains Tree Farm out of Davenport, but it's also out of Pleasantdale. This represents 32, I think, 10, 11, 29, 29 trees and freight to get them here. So I'm asking board permission to go through and purchase this.
We have a tree farm right by Aurora.
I've talked to him before.
They don't have the inventory though,
Okay.
that we checked that out. We checked out Fallers, we checked out the one in Aurora. And to get this size of tree and this number of trees, inventory is real low right now.
How tall are they?
Kyle said that they were in containers and they were taller than he is. So 5.5 foot tree.
Oh, I'd say a little longer than that, it's 2.5 inch diameter. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, John, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we purchase 28 trees from Plains Tree Farm Incorporated for use at Pioneer Trails.
Second.
Would you like to put the dollar amount in that motion? I'm just asking that you want it in there. I'm not telling you to.
Not to exceed $7,500.
Miller, Houdersheldt.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions or comments on the motion to purchase, Jeff?
Okay, what's the joke with $7,500?
The $7,500 is what's in our current or in fiscal '22 budget for tree purchases for that project. So if we would go above $7,500, you guys could, I'm not saying you can't. Why it's in front of the board is I only have spending authority of $5,000, so I can't buy them without board approval.
Good question, though. That's fine. Is there any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yeah.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Discussion and no action items. Publication of legal notice of meeting was published in York News Times. Open Meetings Acts, advise of those attendance are posted by the entrance to the boardroom. Village of Bee assistance for drainage projects. Sherry Slack, Village of Bee Board, addressed the committee concerning a 2021 drainage study completed for the Village of Bee. The study identified a number of implementation projects, and the first project B has selected is the Pine Street Extension Project, which has been cut back to an estimated cost of $98,400 from an original project cost estimate of $198,000. The cost estimate for all projects is $1.887 million. No action can be taken because the Village of Bee was not on the committee agenda. The Village of Bee will return to a future projects and programs committee to make a request for assistance. Private dams program. 2 private dam projects are currently under construction. Elisa Hendricks and Dustin Chrisman, and are scheduled to begin construction in May. Hank McGowan and mine. All 4 dams are scheduled to be completed by the end of the fiscal year, June 30th, 2023. Tree program. The NRD staff has completed the 29 tree plantings for 2023. The fabric installer is scheduled to begin the week of May 15th. Smith Creek improved recreation area. The volunteers had not started the construction of the sand area to be used for launching kayaks, canoes, and boats. The volunteers had provided a certificate of liability insurance to the NRD to cover this work. Pioneer Trails East Shoreline Access Improvement. Mid-Nebraska land developers continue work on the east shoreline bank of Pioneer Trails. They have excavated the 10-foot berm and sloped back the banks at a 4-to-1 slope. They are currently placing rock on the shoreline and will then place topsoil on the bank and seed and mulch the bank. We already visited about Langworthy Rhinemiller Dam. Next item, Lake Hastings Water Quality Management Plan. The NRD received a Nebraska Department of Environmental and Energy intergovernmental agreement for the Lake Hastings Watershed Plan development. The board previously approved NRD staff to sign a contract with JEO Consulting to complete this plan. When completed, this plan will be added to the Upper Big Blue NRD district-wide water quality management plan. Others participating in the planning effort and contributing funding include the Little Blue NRD and the City of Hastings. Additional picnic shelters, Smith Creek Recharge Pioneer Trails. Staff is planning to advertise the new picnic shelters in separate contracts, one for construction of the new shelters and one for completing the wiring to the outlets on the new shelters. Staff decided to remove the existing shelter at Smith Creek and build a new shelter on the same site. Warning sign agreement, NEMA and Upper Big Blue NRD. The Upper Big Blue NRD has been awarded a hazard mitigation grant agreement from the Nebraska Emergency Management Agency for the Upper Big Blue NRD recreation area warning signs. Though this agreement, the NRD will install warning signs at Pioneer Trails Recreation, Bruce Anderson Recreation Area, Recharge Lake, Smith Creek Recreation, and Oxbow Trails Recreation Area. Pioneer Trails Recreation Area Fisheries Management Plan, March 2023. Nebraska Game and Parks Commission has completed the report from the summer 2023 fish survey at Pioneer Trails. They have issued the Pioneer Trails Recreation Area Fisheries Management Plan, March 2023. The report presents a good number of channel catfish, white crappie, and largemouth bass. Upper Big Blue NRD Reverse Osmosis Pilot Program. On April 13th, 2013, the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy issued a press release announcing that the department has extended the state's private well reverse osmosis rebate program. The program will continue to take applications and will be evaluated at the end of each month. And the staff estimates that the program has enough funding to last an estimated 1 to 1.5 years. The NRD has decided to support Nebraska Department of Energy and Environment program and hold off on the creation of the new pilot program. First draft 2024 projects budget. The committee reviewed the first draft of the 2024 projects and program budget. First draft of the 2024 parks and forestry budget. The committee reviewed the first draft of the 2024 parks and forestry budget. Additional information, project priority list. Staff distributed a list of future potential projects for the committee's review and ranking. Seward Trail extension of interlocal agreement. The interlocal agreement with the City of Seward is set to expire on June 20th or June 30th, 2023. Staff will encourage Seward to attend the June 2023 Projects and Programs Committee to request an extension of this interlocal agreement. And that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I know Jack's not here, but does anybody know what over Pioneer Trails, what their plan is for the dirt that's there by the entrance?
That is the dirt that's been brought from the bank.
Yeah.
Right now, it will just be a mound, and that'll be a borrowed dirt pile. We are going to probably put a habitat, pollinator habitat over it though. We have money in next year's budget to do that.
So it's not really permanently placed there if we have other uses, such as expanding the camper pads or something.
That's correct.
Okay.
So are you concerned with the eye appeal of it, the looks of it, or?
Well, not if there's a plan.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
I'd rather it not stay where, what it looks like right now, but if there's a plan, I got no problems.
Okay.
This is more for Richard. Was there something that you said on your dam you couldn't go on it now?
Well, there was some, they have to do an environmental study but the tree, the shelter belt, there's no trees along the dam. The shelter belt is far enough away that did another look and they can go ahead and do it. Because otherwise they're gonna have to wait. I don't even know what it was. The mating season was done like June or July 15th or something after that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because that basin down there south of McCool, they burnt that off here about 3 weeks ago. What's the difference? I was gonna say, what was the difference between that nesting there and nesting on yours?
Ken told me I should have went and shredded it on April 30th, exact words.
So it matters when it was burnt, was it?
It was burnt when the wind was blowing, I know that.
Yeah.
A lot of people were kind of worried about it.
Yeah, when that was burnt around first of the month, maybe the end of last,
They may have just.
Yeah, I could really see the smoke. I was wondering, I couldn't believe anybody was burning on that day.
The whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, Paul had a question.
I was just gonna say, my dad was camping on Pioneer Trail. He came home yesterday. He said yesterday they were loading equipment, so they must be done.
I know that the contractor contacted us, and instead of leaving the mounds like they were, I told them to make one consistent. It doesn't make any, because that doesn't make sense. Yeah. Instead of having dump loads mounds, to level it off so they're.
It's a flat table.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, okay.
About last weekend.
Roger.
Paul, part of the deal with the birds is it depends on which kind. I think what Richard had was their tree nesting birds. And those down there would be in the ground, and so that's what, because we've run into that nesting deal before when we've been trying to build a dam or something, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that's what he said, and I wondered how they could get by with it down there.
Okay, so with that, let's move on to the executive committee report. Bill?
The executive committee met at 8:55 PM on Thursday, May 11th, 2023 at the NRD office in York. Committee members present were Yates, Kuehner, Stahly, Bethune, Siebert, Bohaty, Houdersheldt, and Miller.
Board Chairperson Yates acknowledged that we published the legal notice of the committee meeting on May 2nd, 2023 in the York News Times. Yates advised those present that the Open Meetings Act is posted by the entrance to the boardroom. Item A, out-of-state travel request. Water Rock Summit will be held June 21st and 22nd, 2023 at Iowa State University, Ames, Iowa. Crystal Houston is requesting permission to attend. Motion to approve out-of-state travel for Public Relation Manager to attend Water Rocks. Summit to be held June 21st, 22nd, 2023 at Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa. The motion carried, 7 yes and 0 no, and there's no board action. Item B, Educational Capital Projects Fund, ECAP application. ECAP application has been received from St. Joseph Catholic School for an outdoor classroom to be constructed on the northeast corner of the playground at 428 Northeast Avenue, York, Nebraska. Motion to approve ECAP application in the amount of $2,500 to St. Joseph Catholic School for an outdoor classroom to be constructed on the northeast corner of the playground at 428 Northeast Avenue, York, Nebraska. The motion carried, 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Oh, Mike News. Any questions on this? Roll call.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C, 2023 Director Tour. Management and staff have begun the planning process for the annual Director's Tour. This year's tour will focus on past, current, and potential projects in the southeast quadrant of the district. Staff are targeting the month of August. If a board member has suggestions of a specific subject matter, please contact staff with your recommendation. Item D, out-of-state travel request. 2023 GMDA Summer Conference will be held in Santa Fe, New Mexico at Hacienda and Spa, July 10th through the 13th, 2023. Motion to approve out-of-state travel for any director and up to 3 water department staff that wish to attend the 2023 GMDA Summer Conference at the Hacienda and Spa, Santa Fe, New Mexico, July 10th through the 13th, 2023. The motion carried, 8 yes and 0 no. Item E, fiscal year 24 position salaries and wages. The creation of a grant-funded position. Management is requesting a program coordinator position to be created and placed on the personnel roster. The salary for this position would be grant-funded. Motion to approve creation of a program coordinator position and place on the personnel roster. Motion carried, 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Bethune.
Any questions on this? Comments? Yes, Teresa. Hey.
Does this have to do with the grant that we've applied for, is that the program?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
This is
This is the grant that we are applying through Rainwater Basin for the agronomist coordinator. There was some concern about the word agronomist, so I changed it to coordinator, but it is a grant-funded position. If we don't receive the grant, we don't have money for the position.
And in the future, this might be good because there might be something else come up, someday. But again, there's a grant, so it'll be there in our schedule.
Program coordinator took me off of that agronomist position.
There's been a lot of discussion on the word agronomist, and I went back to Andy Bishop, and we met with the other NRDs, and we thought maybe, and it got real lengthy, so I just said coordinator is what I'm doing.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Pass.
Nuss,
No.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
No.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
No.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
No.
Yates,
Does the pass want to vote?
Pass will vote yes.
And yes.
Okay, motion carried. 12-4.
Item F, fiscal year '24 salary schedule. The manager recommended changes for the fiscal year '24 salary schedule. Eichenberg explained the logic and starting point behind this recommendation and answered questions. This schedule has been developed to provide guidance on fiscal year '24 salary structure. Midpoints were calculated by taking the average of 5 NRDs with similar property valuations, annual payrolls, and staffing numbers. Midpoints were then used to develop a minimum of 80% and a maximum of 120% wage limits. The salary schedule will be used in accordance with operating policy. The proposed salary schedule is attached to the reports.
Mr. Chairman, if I could have a minute, I made an error in the one stapled to your packet. You will find a loose one in your pile, just at the back of your pile. That's where I placed it. The loose one is labeled proposed corrected 5/18/23. If you look at the two in comparison, and the only correction is if you go to water department manager, you can see the one that was stapled to your packet. I did not use both the low and the high on the average. I only used the high positions when I averaged them from our 5 neighboring NRDs. So I made just about a $10 an hour mistake in that. It should read, Terry didn't know about this yet. It should read 28.39 for the 80%, 35.49 for the 100%, and 42.59 for the maximum. So the motion should include the words corrected and this date. So this one is in there.
Motion to approve fiscal year '24 salary schedule as presented. The motion carried a yes, 0 no.
Who's second?
I so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any questions on this? Comments? John?
I think I know the answer, but we do not have any current staff that would fall outside of this, do we?
We would have if we would have not made the amendment. No, we are all in line with the salary schedule.
Yes, Teresa?
Does that allow us to be competitive in the market today, just on anything outside of NRDs?
I think that if you look at the 80% to the 120%, yes, we can be competitive in that range.
Okay. So it's higher than
Does it make it, with NRDs, they have more trouble getting people out to Butte, Nebraska, and Chadron than York and Elkhorn, Lincoln, Omaha?
I think that probably Lincoln and Omaha has the largest pool for potential employees, and they're easier. The farther west you go, the less pool you have for employees. Although saying that, I know that everybody right now in the NRD system is having a terrible time hiring qualified applicants, just like everywhere else.
So I guess do the ones out west, do they bump up salaries to get certain people hired if they have to, or that's not come into play?
No, actually, their salaries are significant less than our salaries.
Unless it's upper Republican.
Unless it's upper Republican.
God, they pay
And
quite
why-
well.
Yeah, why I don't, and they always have.
Roger.
Well, a lot of those NRDs have a lot less employees too, or a lot, so they aren't dealing with near as much. Cause I know, we were talking to one, when we were interviewing for a manager, that NRD had like 9 employees or something like that at that time, so some of them don't have very many.
Oh, I saw the list, it might have been in the committee, as far as the number of employees, aren't we about 5th or 6th in the state? Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere, I don't know.
Larger packet that was included
Yeah.
in your executive committee, it says in there, I do not know off the top of my head.
Okay, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said, but, yeah, okay. Is there any other questions or comments on the 24 salary schedule, the proposed as presented? Roll call.
Kuehner,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
No.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
No.
Richard,
No.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
No.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item G, fiscal year '24 wage increase request. The executive committee discussed the wages of current staff positions. As part of this discussion, Eigenberg informed the committee that prior to preparing his proposal to increase wages, he removed one of the engineering technician positions from the spreadsheet because he has no plans to fill this position soon. However, he does plan on having a water conservationist position filled in fiscal year '24. Eigenberg requested that the board authorize a 5% increase in the fiscal year '23 payroll, less the vacant engineering technician position, for a total of $71,570 for the fiscal year '24 salary increase for staff. Motion to adjust the annual fiscal year '24 salary of the district staff, except for the general manager, by 5% of the fiscal year '23 payroll, not to exceed $71,570, and to authorize the general manager to determine and make the salary and wage adjustments in accordance with the operating policy. The motion carried, 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Nuss.
Is there any questions on this? Yes, Matthew.
What have been the past increases, I guess, over the past few years? Do you got that on hand?
Can I just hand this to you? I don't know whether you got this. Were you here at the executive?
I left early.
Okay. Basically, what we try and do is track CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And the 2 lines in the graph show how we bump around a little bit. The numbers in the chart itself are the numbers. I think last year, what was it last year? 6%? 6%.
When you speak about the vacant engineering technician position.
That's not the lead technician, that's not Jeffrey's.
Okay, that's.
Prior to me coming here, we had an AutoCAD specialist position, what was her name?
Kristen.
Kristen.
Oh, yeah,
When
yeah.
she left, that position remained open, and actually, I pulled the salary from that last year.
Oh,
So
okay, that's.
it's not Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the lead.
Okay, that's what I was
should be more
wondering,
explicit.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
I just want to comment to Matthew and that those total dollars of salary increase, that's up to Dave then on how to distribute that. It's not the same amount percentage-wise to every person.
So that obviously that 5% would be the max you can give.
Well,
No.
He could give
Yeah.
$71,000, well, no, he couldn't, he'd have to fall within the guidelines.
Oh, Terry, sorry to get a smile back there.
He has to fall within the guidelines of the salary schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we just approved. So, I mean, he could shift a substantial
Well,
portion to.
Yeah.
But what I've done in the
Okay.
past, we've got some staff that have been hired at lower pay grades. And I've been trying to bring those up. And so not everyone even gets the 5%. Some of them get substantially less than that, 2.5%, 3%, and others get 8%. But they all fall in that range, that salary schedule range when I get done. But I try and compensate the lower wage, hourly wage, a little bit more than the higher wage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess I was just from where I'm at, from a nonprofit public or nonprofit private institution, we're like at 3%. It's the max we get across the board. So
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, oh, but this isn't across the board, this is at the manager's discretion, what he wants to do. And I guess technically, he could lower somebody's wage a little bit if he wanted to, but yes.
But in reality, it's a 5% increase.
Yeah.
Whether
Well,
he
it's
lowers it-
71,000.
Yeah, and that's a 5% increase.
Yeah.
Okay, whether he lowers or higher?
Yeah.
To the entire staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not per staff member.
No, but
Yeah.
for 5%.
That's correct.
Well, I guess I'm wondering, this is just a question, I wasn't here. I work for the co-op, we got 2. My son works for the school, he got 3. And really, a school's pretty important to me. I'm not saying 5 is too much, but why are we that much higher than other businesses around? Are there other businesses around here that have bumped 5%?
I know other NRDs are.
No,
I'm not for sure about others.
No, I'm talking other businesses in this area, because some of these that you're looking at are pretty darn good wages in this area. And, because I know my wife worked at the Farm Service Agency, and they're way above that, and she was there for 20 years, and I'm not saying these people don't deserve more. That's not, but I'm just asking, being in this area, 5% seems a little stiff to me, but I don't know. I'd like some comments on other people, if they know of any other businesses that have set salaries.
I think on government, I know the city of York's probably done 5% when I'm reading the paper, but yeah, I guess from a government standpoint, I guess 5% is probably on par from what I've read, but obviously we go with what we think.
I don't know what Fillmore County's doing with their employees. I haven't read what York County's doing as far as county employees. So, any other, Roger.
Well, part of the reason we just kind of went off the CPI, because if we're in the ballpark where the CPI is, you're staying about even. The CPI is 5% and your raise is 5%, you're basically breaking even. Whereas if your CPI is at 2%, you're getting a 3%, you're gaining a little bit on it. But that consumer price index is what we've always used in the last, just to get a ballpark, feeling for where it needs to be. That's why you'll see on that sheet. Sometimes it's a 2 or 3% raise, and other years it's 5 or 6. It's been all over the place.
Well, I can understand that, but I'm still just wondering, your John Doe public that has to work out for an hourly wage, they're not getting the 5, or, I don't know, we complained down there, you should get 7% because of inflation, but that's why I say, what does the guy walking on the street, what is he getting this year? I'm not talking NRD, but the guy that works at the lumber yard, or what is their raise compared to what we give, percentage-wise?
Government always fares better than private businesses. That's just a fact.
It's 3% at the hospital.
3%, okay, thank you. That's rather important. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to put Jeff on the spot. Do you know what the university is doing or anything, I don't, if you don't want to say, that's fine.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot.
Okay, don't answer then, I mean, I haven't heard anything, of course, maybe I have to wait for the budget to get passed too. The legislature's budget, but I was just curious, what.
Universities, they're in a hurry.
Yeah, the universities, they're short like 10 or 20 million.
Yeah, or I think it might be
Okay.
more than that.
Okay, well, so they may not increase.
A lot of it's because of lower enrollment.
Football program spending all.
I've heard that that's not true, though. The athletic department is all private. There's no tax dollars go there.
They're making so much money, they ought to give it back to the kids.
For instance, Paul, though, like, the hospital does a market analysis on positions. This would be a market analysis that he did with the salary schedule.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, to me, they're getting high enough in this area, that's what I think, maybe they're not, I don't know.
I think what Paul's trying to say is the NRD is benchmarking against other NRDs that really aren't in our labor pool. There should be more benchmarks in local salaries
That's what
versus other NRDs that might be hundreds of miles away.
Does it take as much to live in this area as it does in Lincoln, or?
Right.
There's what I'm getting at.
Teresa?
Okay, this is dumb, but your people will end up working at McDonald's and Runza because they can get $20 an hour over there. They don't have to come and think here.
Well, the labor market, the last 2 years, maybe even 3 years, I mean, it's just, nothing's normal, that's what I'm gonna say, it's just changed so much.
Yeah, I meant that in a positive way for our people. They're paying, they're taking people that easy for 20 down there. And if you look at this on the midpoints, we're not even at $20 for some of your lower salaried or your entry-level salary people. So, it finally gets them up there.
Oh, yes.
I'd really agree with Teresa. If you look at our salary schedule, if the top of half of that sheet needs to be adjusted more, and the bottom half should probably stay flat.
We went through this when I was on the co-op board. We're dealing with management, the salary guys versus the low-level employees. We never thought were making enough, but that was just the way it was. We battled, we had that argument more than once.
I think I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead, Roger.
Call for the question.
Okay, the question's been called for. We are gonna vote on the motion. And then the motion is to give the general manager authority to 5% raise not to exceed $71,570. Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
No.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
No.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item H, the committee's discussion focused on our current operating policy number 19, which in portion states, the treasurer of the district is authorized and directed to hold funds of the district in the following manner. Number one, in a money market account at an FDIC insured bank, as the board shall determine located in the city of York for funds anticipated to be needed in the near term. Item 2, in time certificates of deposits issued by FBI insured banks, as the board shall determine located in the city of York, Nebraska. Statute 2-3227. Staff has contacted each FBI insured bank in the city of York. Currently, we invest in Cornerstone Bank and York State Bank. 2 additional banks, Midwest Bank and Henderson Bank, would like the opportunity to submit a bid on time certificates of deposit. Staff will send out an email to these banks prior to the maturity date of the future CDs asking for bids on specific lengths of terms and rates associated with each term. A resolution for investment would need to be enacted by the board and authorized signature card completed by the treasurer and the staff before proceeding. Motion to send to the full board a resolution to invest with Midwest Bank and Henderson State Bank, both located in York, Nebraska, and to authorize the board treasurer, office manager, and general manager to sign the signature card on each bank. The motion carried, 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this, Richard?
Yeah, how come you don't go outside in this area like Seward or Aurora to see if there's competitive rates? Is it just as easier to manage in York, or I just wondered why we don't go in our area, not outside our area, but
or stay in the district.
Stay in the district, yes, sir.
The policy was written in the city of York. That's all I can answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I brought this up when I was chairman 10, 15 years ago about doing this, and we couldn't get anybody to jump on board. But the reason they kept it in York was for the convenience of the staff and the secretary or the treasurer to just do it right here in York. That was the reason it was kept in York. Because we brought it up about moving, opening it up to everybody, and that was why it went that way.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Nuss,
Yes.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes?
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
No.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Grotz,
Yes.
Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
No action items. Item I, fiscal year 24 draft budgets. The first drafts of the fiscal year 24 budgets for public relations, office, and administration departments were provided to the committee for consideration. Staff presented proposed budgets and answered questions. Item J, Nebraska Memorial Forest. The goal of the Nebraska Memorial Forest is to have a tree planted for each Nebraskan fallen military and first responder hero. Trees will be planted statewide in almost every county in groves of 50 or more. Each tree will be named after one of the fallen heroes. York County has been asked to be a host for one of those groves. Jim Meyer, Director, Honor and Remember Nebraska Chapter, spoke to staff about how they might assist NMF in York County. At least 80 trees, each tree representing a York County fallen military or first responder hero, would be planted. A total of 65 York County citizens died from World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. 15 trees would be allowed for the possibility of future deaths, having some unnamed trees planted. The approximate cost for the project is $27,000. Project costs include the purchase of 80 6 to 7 foot gallon grow bag trees, tree transportation cost, augering the holes, maintenance, watering, protective sleeves, and spraying if needed, mulching, NMF signage, non-paved pathways, some form of identifying the name of the fallen with their tree, a few benches, updating the database, and creating and maintaining names, write-ups with the photo for each of the fallen. There are 2 locations on NRD property that were discussed for a grove of trees, both associated with Bruce L. Anderson Recreation Area. Planning will be targeted for the fall of 2023. The committee instructed staff to ask the City of York if they would have any better site. A meeting has been set up on May 22nd, 2023 to discuss the city participation with city officials and a possible site within the city limits for the MMF. Any updates on that, Dave?
No, meeting will be Monday. As far as I know, the city administrator, the mayor, and several councilmen will be there. I'll have more in June.
Item K, personnel report?
An offer has been made for the Polk County NRCS secretary. She asked for consideration until tomorrow at noon, so I can't really report on anything more than that. I've asked Jeff Ball to write a letter of resignation to me with a date so I can start the search. What I'd really like to do there is hire somebody and have them shadow Jeff for a couple weeks at least before he would leave.
It sounded like you were asking him to resign, but you're not, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, well,
No, that's not.
Yeah, clarify that.
A letter with the date that he is going to retire.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a letter of retirement, not of resignation. It's been a long day, guys, and if you notice, nobody's hammered on the ceiling anymore. The water conservationist, we've got that listed right now. We have a date closed probably next 2 weeks? 15. And we'll have something to report next committee meeting. That's all I have.
All right. Staff has been sending out weekly NRAD legislative summaries. You can see the investments and the additional, all the upcoming events. The meeting adjourned at 9:45, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Yes.
Will that enter our drill program and stuff?
No. It'll stay the same. We'll have to hire somebody to take care of that. Until we get somebody on staff, we'll make sure it gets done with staff members.
Okay, we'll move on to the financial statement and approval of bills to be paid.
In your package, you'll have your typical fund summary for the budgets and then expenditures for this last month. Staff will try and answer any questions you may have.
Approximately how many miles are on that 17 Ford pickup? I see it got a new transmission and starter and...
Yeah, that is one of our maintenance department pickups, so miles are hard on it. And as I recall, it's about 135,000 miles on it right now.
Okay.
But that may be off. That's what my recollection is.
Okay.
But I asked for a letter of resignation a little bit instead of a retirement too.
Roger.
463.01. Were we needing a lot of mulch?
That is the mulch around this building. We try and do that every other year, if not every third year. So yes, I don't know how many cubic yards, do you remember, Marie? Yeah, so.
But we did not, yeah, we haven't mulched for a couple of years.
Where was that? Was that from Fowler?
Yes.
Yeah, they charge about 50 bucks per cubic yard.
Yeah, it wasn't cotton, it was cedar, and that's a little bit more. We've had better luck with cedar lasting the 2 to 3 years. So we're up to spend a little bit more money up front and have it last a little bit longer. But if you look around, you can see that it's freshly mulched and it's, it looks nice.
No wonder I couldn't buy any of it.
Bill?
On that same item, the applying fertilizer and pre-emerge, is that just for this building? Is that just for this area? Yes.
That's for the buffalo grass yard.
Motion to approve the financial statement.
Okay.
Second.
Does anyone have any other questions? Roll call.
Otte,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stahly, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Yes.
Grotz, Houdersheldt,
Yes.
Kuehner,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, Josh.
Good evening. Got a pretty quick report. Going through what we're working on right now, what programs we have going on. We're wrapping up EQIP and CSP. We did have an additional request for funds, so we did a little bit there. So we have until the end of June to get those obligated. We're still in the middle of the process of obligating and making any corrections that we have on both EQIP and CSP. So we'll be trickling a few more contracts hopefully here within the next few weeks. IRA, EQIP, that was the new initiative that came out, Inflation Reduction Act. Those applications were due. We have to have those applications ranked and submitted all the way through by May 26th. So we'll be working on those next. And then I believe the end of June, we have an obligation deadline. So we'll be moving fairly quickly on those contracts and getting those dollars obligated out. Status reviews, we're going through those fairly quickly this year. When you don't get a lot of moisture, there's not a lot to look out for erosion out there, so it's been fairly quick and painless for us. We do still have to go through the wetland checks on those, but majority of those, like I said, are fairly quick without the moisture this year, and plus we're getting a lot of stuff planted quicker than what we have in the past years. So we talked a little bit earlier about the dams. I believe construction on both of those should start fairly soon. I know the one, I believe it's going to start next week, so should have contractors out there by the end of next week is what the plan is. Update on staffing. We closed the Geneva RC position closed 2 weeks ago. I'm still waiting to hear back, but on our eligible candidates, HR has to go through and make sure that they're eligible first, and then they supply those to us. And I have not seen that list yet. Hopefully there is a list. So we'll see when that comes out, but I would think early next week I'd have that. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Do you check wetlands, did you say? You go and check them?
When we do status reviews, we have to review the wetlands.
Yeah, do you physically go out and check them then, or? To see that they're they stay wetlands, or?
Yes, so if we do if there's a wetland determination or a potential wetland out there, what we do with those with our new teams is we'll only notify the team if there's a potential violation. If not, we proceed with them. If there's a violation, then we proceed to send it on to the team, and then they'll review it for us. They kind of took it away from our local control as far as reviewing those wetlands, and have a specialized team to do that. That way they can just focus on those.
Any other questions for Josh? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the NARD report,
Only thing I've got is the next board meeting is Monday, June 12th out in Kearney. So, that's all I got.
Oh, okay. Okay. Chairman's report. I'm gonna have Dave update a little bit on the roof, but did they find some bad spots or some of those areas or trouble spots?
They started roofing, Tuesday? Yesterday. They mobilized on Tuesday and actually started tearing off. They have found several spots up on the peak, way up on the peak, that it appeared like the ridge cap was not sealed down. That has been running down the plywood, finding a seam and then coming in. That is the only spots as of now that they have found it. They have not finished the southern part with the bump outs.
Or the dormers or whatever you call it.
They're just about to the front door, so they'll open that up tomorrow and we'll know more. That's actually where most of the leaks were.
Yeah.
So, but Marie's been on top of it. We have talked to Steve Connor. Steve's not on site. It's actually a gentleman that subcontracted with Steve from Lincoln. A very nice gentleman, has been here most of the time that his crew's been on the roof.
Okay.
So I've talked to him and he knows that we're concerned.
Okay, good, okay. Okay, I know Bill had that comment
I
earlier.
just got one question. I had the Grotz in the pool. I took my deal, well deal in today, was looking at it. And he saw it. He wanted to know if we could hang a copy of that at the elevators, the farmers could look at it, gave the help. And he took a copy for himself. Is that something that's public knowledge?
The map of the hot spots of the lowering, yes. It's actually been publicized. It's out on the website, so I see no reason why it couldn't be. If you need a copy, we can get.
And then how about the flip side then?
No problem.
No problem with that either. Okay.
No, everything that we generate here is public knowledge. Like I say, it's on the website now. It's going to be in the blueprint as soon as it comes to print, but it's probably a week before the blueprint gets out.
I just want to make sure that the board member could, if somebody asked for one.
What I always tell staff, especially Crystal, is I don't want to get out in front of the board. So I want you guys to have the first view of it. If you have comments, share them with Crystal, but once you guys have seen it, then it's open to the public.
News Times had a big article.
Did they?
Yeah.
So it's not that we're hiding it. I mean.
Well, I just didn't know if we should.
The local paper of Geneva had that same article down there.
I suppose it was written by Crystal, wasn't it? Or was it?
No,
Was it?
no, it was by one of the technicians.
Oh, yeah, but it was generated from his office. Yeah, it was Aaron.
At the committee meeting, Jack gave us a list for the priorities, but to rank those or whatever. I know he would probably like to have those back. I forgot to do mine. I was going to do it and leave it here tonight, but so that's something.
You can either email them back to Jack if you want to do it email, or you can drop them off at the office. They have to go to Jack eventually.
Yeah, they'll get there. The other thing that I was going to mention, which everybody knows this, I put in some soil blocks the other day, and it was on irrigated ground where I had watered once. The top 6-8 inches, there's some moisture there, but the farther down you go, it gets really dry. You get down that 3 foot, and that stuff, or the soil just falls apart. I mean, it's dry. I mean, it's so dry. And down in my area, geez, there's a lot of people that they've watered 3 and 4 times. And I know some of them are trying to build up some moisture, whether it's right or wrong, but there's no subsurface moisture at all. Probably the first time I've ever experienced that. So it's
too early to say it, but we might be experiencing the 30s.
Yeah.
And then we're, we talked about it as a board here, we're gonna have some work to do in the next year if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, I know the dry land that hasn't had any water down in my area, where the corn is that bluish green, and it's about a third the height of where it's getting water. And I mean, it looks tough. I'm afraid some of it's gonna die, but so, yeah. And I mean, other places that are seeing this too, it's just not down there, so it's really dry. I saw something in 13, our water table dropped, was it 4.5, 5 feet? 4.4. Yeah, well, so depending on what the rainfall does, next spring in a year, look for that or more, because I think there's gonna be a lot more irrigating done, so.
Well, Lincoln's going right now on the driest May on record.
Yeah, Roger?
One thing, we kind of screwed up the last few years with this budget. We'll take a look at our budget real hard in each of your committee, because we're kind of, what we've done is we've budgeted for projects we haven't done. And we are getting real upside down with the state on, and it's going to be really, really tough to ever do much with our budget, because we've really screwed up about the last 4 years. When we budget something, we don't spend for it. This isn't like your home budget. If you don't spend for it, you can't save it. It doesn't do any good.
Roger,
take a look at them budgets really close.
have you talked to any of your constituents on that? I mean, when you pitch that to them, what do they say to you?
Well, they don't understand it. They don't realize that we can't save.
Yeah, I know, but
that money isn't saving it.
After you try to explain it to them, then are they still, negative, positive, or what? Give me an idea.
I don't get much feedback at all. I've had 1 or 2 guys tell me their taxes are too high because it's, on their house, it's over a 6-pack of beer. And, I mean, on a house, NRD taxes don't add up to diddly squat. But I'm just telling you, we can't keep doing this, or we're hurting now. I was asking Nancy about it after the last meeting. The executive, I said, where are we looking at on the budget? She said, we got a lot of trouble. We have budgeted money we haven't spent. And with the state, that's a big no-no.
It basically decreases the amount that you get to spend next time over time, is that what it does?
We're limited to a 2.5% lid increase the way it is.
Okay.
Am I right on that? And so even with the CPI, and then when we budget stuff and we don't spend it, it really hits us upside down on it. And I mean, it really messes. So if you want to see something in the budget, get it in there, and we may not be able to put it in just because of the formula that the state requires us to do. But I just want people to understand, we've got really upside down about the last 3 or 4 years on this budget. And it's really going to come back to bite us.
I know a couple things on some of those projects, it was hard to get contractors and stuff, which messes it up. And maybe we need to, as soon as we budget for it, that we need to start working on those, and not in the first half of the year and not wait till the second half, which I know it's hard to do because we're going into winter and stuff, but I mean, that's something, but to look at, don't wait till the last month or 2, but to try to do what we budgeted.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That's exactly right. I mean, anything that we're going to spend money on, I don't see why, in July we don't start taking bids.
Yeah.
I mean, get most of that out of the way. And the second part of this is, we're having this 4 years in a row, don't budget for so much. It's pretty simple.
And maybe we're spending too much.
That's what I was going to ask you. Does that make a difference then? I mean, if we don't budget for as much, will that hurt us the next year then?
Well, yeah, because then our increase, we're limited to a 2.5% increase, and if costs go up, this year, for example, CPI is 5%. We can only budget for 2.5% of that increase in our budget. We cannot go up even to maintain our same level of service. We just can't do it.
Does anybody have anything else they want to mention or bring up? Go ahead, Anthony.
I have a question. So you budget for the projects and either you don't get them bid or they go before the board and they fail, or why are they not going through?
A lot of the times, we don't get them done. And then we shove them in, well, or we do, or go into the next year then, you know. Yeah. I think that's most of what happens, you know. Yeah, sometimes, but the board budgets some money and then we don't end up doing it too, you know. That has happened, you know. It's too bad some of these projects on this watershed, and some of those practices, you know, it's too bad that we can't get people involved in that. You know, nobody wants to be involved with that and stuff, you know. I mean, those are important things, but that's my personal opinion.
We went through that last week when if we wanted to have 2 bids from that well.
Yeah.
I mean, it just driving us all nuts.
Yeah.
Because, you know, maybe we just do it already.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Well.
I mean, government, and it's nothing about this NRD here, but government is very inefficient in the way they spend tax dollars as a whole, general.
Yeah, sometimes that happens, you're right, yeah. So, okay, if nobody has anything else, I would like to have a motion to get out of here. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.